This young lady that you guys see on my screen had been missing for a while. And I always say where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, I mean, it's a thing that I say. I know it's a common colloquialism, but I believe that truly. And when I'm talking about missing children, the first person I start to point the finger at and point the blame at where people need to look first is look at the person who was the caretaker of that child, biological parents or whomever was supposed to have custody of that kid at that time. Even though people feel like it's insensitive to do, I don't think it is. I think that's a great place to start looking first. In this case, this concept is proven to be right. Unfortunately, we're going to talk about him also. So let's get to the details. Let's get it. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And we're using a website called Tallahassee.com, so shout out to them and thank you for the article. After nearly 2 years of searching for that girl that I saw right here on the screen, that I showed on the screen, her name is Lori Page, Lori Page, Paige. The search for Lori Page ended in the woods of South Georgia. All that remained of the missing 12-year-old girl were 2 small bones. Now, what kind of life and death is that for an angel like this? For a princess like this? What did she do to deserve for this baby to lose her life like this and could have grown up to become anything? Could have been a huge difference maker in this world, and she deserved every opportunity to grow up and get there. That's all that remained of her. The discovery became the crucial piece of evidence that led to the arrest of her father after months of growing suspicion by the Tallahassee Police Department. So they already suspected the biological father in foul play. That fool. Detectives traced her disappearance to the underbrush of a wooded area in Thomas County, Georgia, and found her remains on April the 5th. So this was about 13 days ago, depending on when you're watching this, but in 2025, they just found some of her remains. The close of a case that has drawn intense community interest and even volunteer search parties was a mixed bag of emotions for police. Investigators were glad to bring closure to the family, but TPD Chief Lawrence Revel said in a Tuesday interview with the Tallahassee Democrat that it's always excruciating, I cannot talk today, excruciating to confirm the murder of a child. Again, 12 years old. There is a sadness, certainly, in proving what we thought to be true, Revel said. Anytime a 12-year-old is killed, there's great sadness, but there's pride in the work that was actually done. Now, Lori's father, this terrible individual, yes, Maureen, you are actually right on point. But we're going to get there. Let's talk about what this alleged human did. This alleged human by the name of Andrew Wiley, 36 years old, was arrested Friday and is facing a charge of second-degree murder. Revel said at a state attorney's office prepares for Wiley's trial, detectives have pretty much pursued every avenue and don't anticipate any more arrests at this time. Revel said that this case and Wiley's arrest sends the message to the community that TPD won't give up until justice is rendered. Recently released court records shine new light on the 22-month-old investigation, which detailed a troubled home life for the child involving likely abuse. An unredacted report inadvertently uploaded to the Clerkirk site noted that there was likely abuse of Paige occurring which may have been of sexual nature. I get that they want to protect certain information, but I'm sorry. I'm actually glad to know that we were able to find out what this god dang animal actually did to his own biological child. The real stuff, real unfiltered. I know that they have to protect certain information for whatever reason, maybe even for the integrity of the case, but I'm glad to know what we believe that he actually did, and I don't think he's going to be able to prove that he didn't. With her being 12 years of age, and maybe this even happening prior to that, guess what that would make him? Prepubescent, a pedophile. And you know the stigma that goes with people who go to prison, go to jail, who are marked as pedophiles. And I can only hope that all the bad things happen to him for what we believe in him participating in pedophilic behavior and the murder of his own daughter. They said, and I quote, there was likely abuse of Paige occurring which may have been of a sexual nature. A version released later redacted that detail. A TPD spokesman said it was done in accordance to Florida law that protects the identities of sexual assault victims. In a court appearance Saturday, Wiley was assigned a public defender. He has not yet issued a plea, but an online fundraiser on his behalf, which has since been taken down from GoFundMe, alluded to an unspecified untruth coming from Tallahassee police. I don't think I had that screenshot of the GoFundMe. Yes, I did. Actually, I did. Kinda. Yes, I did. I'm going to show you. But it's not real clear because it was taken down. Raising $100,000, Justice Filori helped free Andrew Wiley. This is Andrew Wiley and his daughter Lori. Andrew has been falsely accused, and this is from somebody named Feda Wiley, or Feda. I think it's Feda, F-E-D-A, which will be Feda Wiley. I don't know if that page is still up or not. Andrew has been falsely accused and arrested for unaliving. I hate when they use them terms. Just call it what it is. Killing of Lori. There are lots of untruth coming from Tallahassee police and Lori's mother. Help us raise money for Andrew's defense and seek the truth for Lori and Andrew. At this time, our family will not be addressing all the lies, but they want your money. Isn't that funny? We will show the world the truth once we retain an attorney to help Andrew fight this battle with the devil. To defeat your enemies, sometimes you have to, whatever the hell it said. But they want the public to fund his defense. Actually, this was part of that fundraiser right here. $100,000 that they want from crowdfunding. But they flagged it down and took it down, rightfully so. The platform said administrators prohibit fundraisers for the legal defense of violent crimes. And I like that. That's good. I'm glad that that's there. But the one on his behalf aimed to raise $100,000 for his defense, not only to free Andrew, but to find the person who really murdered Lori to get her real justice. Putting handcuffs on Wiley was a moment months in the making for TPD investigators. Her father reported Lori, who lived with him at the time, missing in June of 2023. Law enforcement exhausted numerous options over the months trying to locate her, including posting billboards in multiple states and conducting grid searches in the areas of West Tallahassee where she was last seen. Isn't that crazy how they make the public and everybody in the police and investigators go through all of this, and he knows exactly what the hell happened because he did it. Sending people on a wild goose chase knowing that his ass is lying. While the case saw intermittent, matter of fact, to those people who put up that GoFundMe, I would challenge them to come on to my platform. Email me at the afcmatters@gmail.com. Email address is right there. You want to tell your truth, but you wanted $100,000 to do it? How about you come on here and tell the truth now when money is not the motive? Speak on what's right now. I would encourage whoever that feeder person is or whatever the case is or anybody else that knows what actually happened here or claim to knows what happened, even though they probably weren't there, to come onto my channel and tell me and tell the audience and tell the world what actually happened rather than just saying but we got to get paid to do it. We got to collect funds to do it. While the case saw intermittent lulls with no new leads, multiple detectives keyed in on the father Wiley's behavior during interviews. They made note in his probable cause affidavit that he did not appear to be sad or concerned. His demeanor remained the same. On any occasion, he discussed Lori's disappearance with them. Revel said detectives checked and rechecked hundreds of leads, including multiple potential sightings of Lori in various cities and states that all turned up to be dead ends, no pun intended. It was following upon old leads that started to crank up the case. Evidence started to point in one direction, then you certainly started honing in on those inconsistencies that Wiley's story certainly had. According to the affidavit, Wiley began to mix up his story, contradicting information he previously provided in regard to various dates, his whereabouts, with whom he discussed Lori's disappearance. People that are telling the truth typically don't have problems retelling the truth, he added. People who are telling lies have a really hard time trying to keep them straight. As TPD acquired more warrants to search Wiley's phones, car, home, more evidence came to light that Wiley was a likely suspect. In February 2024, search of Wiley's car, police found a loaded gun, car cleaning fluid, a cleaning brush, passenger seat upholstery, a cutout from the carpet, and more. Wow. Cutout carpet. The cleaner's description mentioned it's capable of cleaning blood. Detectives used bioluminescent spray that positively detected Lori's blood in various spots in the car that police said that he used to travel to Thomas County to dispose of her remains. Credit card transactions reveal that the day before he reported Lori's disappearance, Wiley purchased a one-way ticket to Puerto Rico out of Jacksonville International Airport. For unknown reasons, he never boarded the flight and returned to Tallahassee. Searches of his phone also rounded up queries of internet searches like, where do police look to find missing kids? Strange. And phone pings tracked his entire journey to Georgia, where he ultimately dumped Lori's body. The cell phone led detectives to a spot in the Georgia woods where Lori's remains were found. Revel said officers had searched there before, but it wasn't until a coincidental controlled burn cleared some of the underbrush that they were able to recover anything. Up until that point, circumstantially, TPD had everything they needed to make an arrest, but they wanted to make sure that a trial would end in a conviction. Police said that the discovery of the bones that matched her DNA were the final piece in the puzzle is what I'm trying to say. Getting a little tongue-tied. I think we can skip some of this. We could actually skip the rest of this. If you want to follow the rest of that article, Tallahassee.com has it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And this man, I believe, is flat out guilty. So if any family members want to come out and dispute that, I'd love to hear your information.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
For anybody who wants to come on here and dispute what the police have presented, I'm just going to say, let's talk about his cell phone, the cleaning products, the cutout in the car, the blood in the car, and now they found this dead baby's bones and the inconsistencies in his story. I'm just saying you have a lot to try to dispute in there if you're talking about we's going to bring out the truth. Of which part? I'd love to hear that. Y'all do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Let's share this video, make this story go viral. Here we go. I'm going to shorten this. I'm not going to play all the news videos, but I'm going to keep it short.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Montanaro. Jacob has the night off. Tallahassee police make a stunning announcement just 2 hours ago. Lori Page's remains were found in Thomas County. She was last seen in 2023, and in the following days, weeks, and months, flyers and posters went up. The FBI raising the stakes on the search, putting up billboards and offering a reward. People all across the area asking the same question: where is Lori Page? Today, we finally got some answers to that question. Our team coverage of Lori Page's discovery, spearheaded by Abreu Ruffin and Matt Hoffman. Let's begin at TPD headquarters. Matt, break down what the police shared today.
Yeah, good evening, Julie. You know, this is a case that has made changes here at TPD headquarters when it comes to how they deal with missing children, and that case may now have a resolution. Tallahassee's police chief announcing criminal charges against Lori Page's father, Andrew Wiley. In a hastily arranged press conference, TPD said they were able to locate Page's remains after a controlled burn opened up an area known as the Plantation. A secondary search of that part of rural Thomas County, Georgia, this week led to the remains.
Lori deserves a safe home and a full life. While today's arrest will never bring her back, it does bring us one step closer to justice.
Page's case has gripped Tallahassee and many who have followed her case online since her disappearance in 2023. Police said that while her father had always remained a suspect, they didn't have enough evidence until the crime lab was able to confirm her remains this week following that search. Wiley is now charged with second-degree murder. The case will now proceed to court where the allegations haven't yet been tested.
I'm Mayor Sargent in northwest Tallahassee. This is near where Lori Page was last seen on June 3rd, 2023, the same day her father reported her missing. Friday, TPD announced that Page's remains had been found and her father had been arrested in relation to her death. Neighbors share the impact this news is having on this community on the day Page would have been turning 14 years old. A community that wants to be proactive as they remember 12-year-old Lori Page.
We really all adopted Lori, and certainly we want to make sure that we continue to heal. And how do we do that? Continue to come together.
The news shocking the community of many who have been involved in search efforts for Page.
I had to leave work early because, you know, in a lot of our hearts we were hoping.
Still shocked, to tell you the truth, that some of us are lost for words.
The Tallahassee Police Department announced Friday Page's remains had been found.
After a comprehensive and exhaustive 22-month investigation into the disappearance of 12-year-old Lori Page, the Tallahassee Police Department has arrested her father, 36-year-old Andrew Wiley, on the charges of second-degree murder.
Now, Pastor Rudy Ferguson wants to start an initiative to both remember Lori and ensure protections for the community's children.
Get back to that sense of your child is my child. You know, you live in my community, you live next door to me, so we are a community, we are neighbors, and we need to operate as a neighborhood.
Organizations that work to protect children say ththose pillars of support are key in ensuring child safety.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Montanaro.
And I'm Jacob Murphy. We're sitting down one-on-one with Tallahassee's police chief, Lawrence Revel, just days after he announced an arrest in the disappearance and death of missing 12-year-old Lori Page.
Her father, Andrew Wiley, is now charged with her murder. Our Stacey Inez is live at TPD headquarters right now. And Stacey, you had a chance to have an extended conversation with the chief today. What did he say about this 2-year-long case?
So you're asking why is it second degree? Because with first degree, you have to prove that this was planned out, it was premeditated. And if you cannot absolutely get that, it's really, really hard to get first degree. So you have to just take it a step down. So hopefully that answers your question. But good question. Very, very good question. Because I actually do believe that this was premeditated.
Well, Julie, the chief says they are, on one hand, glad to hopefully bring some closure to the family in terms of finding her. But he says as for the father, family are often considered suspects in these types of cases. So he says when the father's story began falling apart, that's when they really began to hone in on the possibility of a murder charge.
There's certainly the sadness in confirming what we believe to be true. There's always still the sadness that a 12-year-old child was killed.
Tallahassee Police Chief Lawrence Revel reflects on the past week since announcing Lori Page's remains were found in South Georgia, ending a nearly 2-year search spanning multiple states.
There was always the hope and the expectation that you were going to find something.
He says while they developed evidence pointing to Lori's father, Andrew Wiley, more than a year ago, they did not want to make an arrest without finding her body.
A lot of times we look at it, hey, we've got probable cause, we can make an arrest, But the state attorney has to look at it from not only do we have probable cause, but how likely are we to get a conviction on this? Because we don't want to try this and not get a conviction and then find out evidence later that he did do it, and now you can't, because of double jeopardy, you can't try him again.
When Lori first disappeared in June 2023, she was originally classified as a runaway, a practice Chief Revel says his department will not use again.
Because it brings additional connotations into the discussion that just don't need to be part of the discussion. Again, that classification, while unnecessary and we don't use it anymore, didn't hamper this investigation.
Tallahassee pastor Rudy Ferguson was one of a few community members who were vocal throughout the entire search for Lori.
That could have been mine. That could have been my grandchild, could have been my daughter, or my next door neighbor's child.
He says he's still trying to process Lori's death and her father's arrest after meeting him multiple times.
I was more concerned that he wasn't as emotional and worried as I would have been as a father. In that time of talking to him, I was still supportive that he was a father. He didn't know how to process this. But as time went on, 30 days and 60 days, and his response to me was still the same. It began to worry me.
Now he's looking forward, hoping to help prevent situations like this in the future.
We just got to figure out how do we become a better community and how do we pay attention to the trauma situations that's around us every day.
Now, as for the investigation, Chief Revel says it's still ongoing, and investigators haven't yet determined the cause of death for Lori. Her father remains in jail without bond. For now, live in Tallahassee, Stacey Inez, WCTV.
So again, I'm glad that some of the information that we now know now because of that unredacted report from the courts. So it was good to at least know that, at least for our comfort. It's not really comforting to know, but I just think it is. We want details. We were able to get some details and what this baby actually suffered through. So for that, this man's soul is required in hell as soon as possible. So as quickly as we can expedite that, that'd be awesome by way of the laws of the land. If you could put him up in front of a firing squad, which is actually a real possibility when it comes to the death penalty, I think he's earned that. I think he deserves that. So he'll have his day in court and we'll go from there. So the more that we find out, we'll definitely talk about it. We'll do another update and hopefully get a conclusion to the story. Lori Page, young princess. Let me see if I can get a better picture of her up here. R.I.P. I wish this angel had a father that was actually worth something. Okay, but as far as the mother, we haven't heard from the biological mother. If we hear from any of the family members, we'll definitely post it share it, let you guys know, okay? Thank you guys so much for listening to our story, okay? Thank you.